and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Tonight, we are joined by Texas Congressman representing the 38th District, Representative Wesley Hunt. Wesley, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Very exciting news. Recently, you were appointed by President Trump to the Board of Visitors for the United States Military Academy at West Point. I can imagine as a West Point graduate yourself, this must hold a lot of meaning to you.
No, it does. And first of all, thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor to be here. And the president called me 2 weeks ago and said, I got some good news for you. You're going to be on the West Point Board of Visitors. And I was elated. And not just because of me, but my brother, sister, and I, we all went to West Point.
Oh,
My
wow.
23. I'm class of '04. My brother's class of '05. There's 60 years of military service just in my immediate family. My dad's a retired lieutenant colonel in the Army. My sister's a retired lieutenant colonel. So West Point runs near and dear to my heart. And the best thing about this story was back in December, the president invited me to join him, he and JD in the box for the Army Navy game. And I had not been back to that game in 20 years to the year.
Wow.
And I got to watch the Army Navy game with President Trump. And then a few months later, I'm on the board of visitors. It's an honor to do it, and I'm so happy about it.
Wow. What was that game like? What was it like to get arrive there with President Trump, with a, I guess, future and former at that point, and the future vice president?
Well, look, Lara, I don't want to talk about the game because we got our butts kicked. However, it was such an amazing moment to stand there proudly next to President, not next to now Vice President JD Vance and President Trump, and sing the national anthem with them. And my phone was blowing up. Everybody saying, "Oh man, we see you up there! Congratulations!" And to be the first person, the first congressman in the entire country to endorse President Trump, and to be standing next to him in that moment was a moment that just came full circle. A lot of hard work, a lot of brave patriots that really worked hard to get the president there and to stand there at my alma mater in the game that has the best saying of all time. It's the only game played where every person that's playing on the field is willing to die for everyone watching.
Wow.
And to be a part of it was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, what a good point. I mean, people never think of it whenever, but whenever they're watching these games, when you put it in those sort of terms, you're exactly right. Everybody out there on that field, whether they're actually playing or whether they're, second, third string on the bench, I
Yeah.
mean, they're willing to lay down their life for everyone who's watching. It's such a great point, and it's something we should never forget. And I'll just go ahead and say thank you to you for that exact same reason, because I know you've served this country, and we are so grateful for it. But tell me about the being on the board of visitors there at West Point. What does that mean, and how does that kind of support the Academy's future? What do you see yourself doing?
Great question. Well, we meet quarterly, and what we do is we talk about the state of affairs at the academy. We talk about the curriculum. We talk about how we are preparing our brave young people, our sons and daughters of this country, to serve in the future. And if you've noticed, for the past few years, we've kind of gotten away from the war fighting aspect of it. I'm a big fan of what our Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, is doing. I'm a big fan of what President Trump has been campaigning on for the last few years, and that is we're going to get rid of DEI. Let's find the best young people that want to continue to serve regardless of their race, religion, color, or creed. And somebody like me, my brother, sister, and I have been black for a long time. And when we got in the military and when we went to West Point, there was none of this. There was about let's perform. I don't care what you look like. How do we have the best people fighting for our country together with one unified front, and basically to defend this country against all enemies, both foreign and domestic? That's got to be the focus. So to be able to serve on this board at such a relatively young age, newly, I would say, compared to many others, kind of newly graduated from West Point within the last 20 years, which is kind of rare. I think I get to bring a very nuanced perspective to being a younger war fighter, a younger leader, and to talk about how we could then get the United States military academies, all of them, back on track.
Wow. I mean, it's so important. And I think you've seen, by the way, Congressman, the way that, the people of this country have responded to
Yeah.
President Trump back in the White House, to Pete Hegseth, as you just mentioned, as our Secretary of Defense. We have seen military recruitment finally going in the right direction. I mean, for a long time, we were in a really bad spot. People were not interested in
Yeah.
joining the military. And the truth is we have to have the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the entire world. And the goal is peace through strength. We want to have it there should we ever need it, but we never want to have to actually use it. I wonder what you've kind of heard, because you must still keep in touch with a lot of people who are currently serving in the military, who have maybe just enlisted, maybe some of those, young men and women who were there at West Point. What's been the change and the shift that you've kind of experienced directly from this new administration?
Well, I got to tell you this: Joe Biden was president for the previous 4 years, and he never made it to that game. And President Trump, before he takes his second office, shows up, and it was an incredible reception that you saw when the cameras were on President Trump and the cadets lost their minds. It was unbelievable, and I think that kind of understanding that we have a leader back. We have somebody that can follow. We have somebody that's going to stand up for America. We have somebody that's going to send us to war as a last resort. And I'm the kind of guy that, I fought in combat. I'm an Apache pilot. I flew 55 combat air missions in Baghdad. I'm going to tell you, look, if it's time to get up and go, call me. I will do it, regardless of what the war is. I'm going to serve my country. What we know with President Trump is that if he sends us to war, it's for a damn good reason. And that leadership is back. And I also see a reinvigorated spirit with young people. Being patriotic is cool again. Patriotism is cool again. Looking at our flag, looking at Old Glory, and standing for that flag, it's cool again. And when you have a leader like President Trump and everyone knows who's in charge, it makes it very easy. And so,
Yeah.
again, the recruiting numbers are up. Pete's doing a great job. The president is doing a great job. We've got to continue this trend for the next few years to set up the future of this country to have exceptional war fighters for the future.
Amen to that. And it is. It's cool to be patriotic again. It's cool to be a Republican again,
Right?
Congressman, which I mean,
Right.
that's good. That's great for us. We like that.
Yeah.
I wonder though, having been there at West Point yourself, what an incredible family you have that you all attended. That is unbelievable. But I wonder, when you were there, was there ever a moment where you looked in the future and you said, you know what? One day I'm going to be a congressman. One day I'm going to serve, the people of the state of Texas. And one day I'm also probably going to do something that's a big deal for the university's future. Did you ever envision that when you were there?
At that point, I was just trying to survive. I had no idea. If you'd have told me 20 years that I'd be having this conversation with you, I would have said no way. But it's amazing where life takes you, and it's amazing that we live in a country like this.
I've always believed in the power of storytelling, the kind that lifts you up, inspires your faith, and reminds you what truly matters. That's why I love what Angel Studios is doing. They're bringing us films that are good for our families, celebrate our country, and instill values we can stand behind. Movies like Sound of Freedom, Homestead, and Bonhoeffer. Right now, when you join the Angel Guild, you'll get 2 free tickets to King of Kings, a breathtaking animated film about the life of Jesus, in theaters this Easter. I've seen how movies like this can touch hearts and change lives. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Angel Studios is delivering family-friendly entertainment that leaves you feeling good. Films that champion faith, freedom, and self-reliance. I'm proud to support them, and I'd love for you to join me. Go to angel.com/Lara to become a premium Angel Guild member today. And you can claim your 2 free tickets to King of Kings in theaters this Easter. MyPillow is excited to announce that they're extending the mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. This is your chance to grab some incredible deals on some of MyPillow's most popular and newly released items. For example, you can save $40 on the new spring MyPillow bed sheets, available in any size and any color. These luxurious sheets are designed for maximum comfort and breathability, perfect for a great night's sleep. Looking for a meaningful gift? You can save 30% on the brand new My Crosses, inspired by the one Mike has worn every day over the last 20 years. These beautifully crafted crosses come in both men's and women's designs and are proudly made in the USA. Get the 6-piece bath or kitchen towel set for just $29.98, Initial quantities are extremely limited, so don't wait. And don't forget about the best-selling standard My Pillow, now just $14.98. Plus, orders over $75 ship free. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code TRUMP or call 800-624-3945 to order now.
I'll tell you a quick story. I spent a semester living in Robert E. Lee barracks because all the
Wow.
barracks and statues are named after famous West Point graduates that went on to be generals to do, great things for the country. And of course, there's Robert E. Lee barracks. And now you see this shift with the woke left to try to change the names on everything. And I remember being at West Point and living in Robert E. Lee barracks and walking across the threshold and thinking to myself, wow, we live in an incredible country because here I am, not just me, but all my siblings have had the honor of graduating from the premier leadership institution of the world. And I'm living in a barracks named after a Confederate general. And if it were named anything differently, then I wouldn't have that perspective. We shouldn't be changing names. We should be honoring our past and honoring how far we've come together as a nation. And so when I think about just that truncated period of time, to me, 20 years ago, playing football at West Point and going to the Army Navy game, and then 20 years later, I'm standing next to President Trump singing the national anthem. Wow, what a journey it's been. But let's celebrate the progress of this great nation. Let's not get stuck in the past. And I think that's actually what West Point represents to me. It commemorates the past, but also shows us how bright our future can be. And with President Trump's leadership, I think we're heading in the right direction.
I think a lot of people would agree with that. I do want to ask you about your family growing up because what's the secret? What is it that your parents did that you have all of these West Point graduates? That's amazing.
My parents did not believe in victim mentality. My parents believe that this is the greatest country in the world. You have an opportunity to be somebody in this country. And my parents are still alive and well. My dad's 75 years old. My mom turns 75 this year. And they grew up in a segregated South in New Orleans. So
Wow.
literally just the next generation, here we are standing before you with three West Point graduates in one house. My great grandfather was born on a plantation. And
Wow.
three of his great grandchildren attended West Point, graduated, and served this country in combat. And so the secret sauce is two good, God-fearing parents that loved us. And that is the privilege that I had. I had parent privilege. Two conservative people, conservative-minded people that cared about their children and raised them in the American way to respect this country, hard work, grit, determination. You can be whatever you want in this country, and don't let anybody tell you differently.
I hope everybody was taking notes because I agree 1000%
Oh,
with
I know
all of
you do.
that. Yeah,
I know you
but
do.
I feel like it's so refreshing to hear that because there's been such a shift, Congressman, in this country in terms of that victim mentality being applied to almost everything, no matter who you are. It's somebody else's fault. There's a way to get out of doing the hard work to get what it is you need. I think that it's so refreshing to hear that. And I kind of feel like the pendulum is swinging back to a certain extent in that direction, which is great for all of us in this country.
Yeah.
I want to switch gears for a minute though and ask you about an upcoming event you have with the Congressional Sneaker Caucus.
Yes.
What's going on there and how do I get invited?
So look, there's no better way to be bipartisan than to celebrate the greatest player of all time. That is Michael Jordan. I am a huge Michael Jordan fan. I have always been a Michael Jordan fan. And I'll never forget Michael Jordan saying these words. Look, Republicans buy sneakers too. And so I am a huge Jordan fan. And I was able to partner with a good buddy of mine, Congressman Moskowitz from Florida. And he's a huge sneaker fan. I'm a huge Jordan sneaker fan. And we're like, you know what? Let's have a little bit of fun with this. So we're going to do an event next month. And basically, we're just going to have everybody in Congress wear your best, most fun pair of sneakers. My personal favorite pair, or my favorite pair, are the Jordan 11s. I'm obsessed with these shoes, and I got a few others to kind of crack out. But we're doing this because we want to try to add some levity to this whole thing. I got to travel around with President Trump for the past couple of years and fly around with the team and campaign with them. And the one thing that President Trump always did was try to have a good time. And every now and again, you got to kind of go off script and go off topic and find a way to bring people together. And we figured, hell, why not? Let's do it over some sneakers. And it's an honor to be a co-chair of the Sneaker Caucus. Let's have a little bit of fun every now and again in the halls of Congress. I know right now things can be a bit contentious. I know we are fighting hard for our country, and every now and again it's good to just kind of take a break and have some fun.
God, what a great idea. Like
Right?
what a great, honestly, it's so smart. It's so great.
Thank you.
Maybe had they all been wearing their Jordans on the night of the joint address to Congress, maybe some of them would have been more apt to stand, more comfortable. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there,
Yeah,
Congressman.
right?
I mean, that is it's but it's such a cool idea. And let me tell you, maybe here's a sneak peek into my past that you didn't know about. I
I'm
went to the same high school as Michael Jordan. Not at the same time. Everyone's
Laney
always
High
like,
School. You went to Laney High
Laney
School?
High School is where I went.
Yeah.
And Fred Lynch, who was the basketball coach who cut Michael Jordan
He was still
famously,
there?
he was still there as the men's basketball coach, and he was the athletics director
Wow.
when I went to Laney High School.
That's
I know.
cool.
Is that so funny?
Small
So
world, yeah.
I felt like my whole life I have this connection to Michael Jordan. Now I'm sure they're going to put the Lara Trump gymnasium up right next to the Michael J. Jordan gymnasium. I know they're
Duh.
dying to do that.
Yes.
Don't hold your breath on it. You know what I mean? But yes, a little tidbit of information. And
That's cool.
I'm a big Jordans fan myself. My kids rock them. I rock them. I think it's a very cool thing. I'm very curious to hear how this goes. And if we feel like you bring the temperature down a little bit
Yeah.
with this Congressional Sneaker Caucus. I love the idea. So you'll have to let us know.
We will. I will certainly have you back on. I'd be happy to tell you all about it. But
Well,
I've got to tell you, my
yeah.
Jordan 11s will be the best. That's all.
Oh,
I'm just going to leave that. I'll
if
leave,
you
I'll leave
don't,
you with that.
if you don't say so yourself.
Yeah, right?
And by the way, for people out there who don't know, I'm sure you're going to post this on your social media. If anyone out there is not following, you on social media, I follow you on Instagram. You have some of the greatest content, I feel like, on social media. So everybody out there, make sure that you are out there following Congressman Wesley Hunt. He's got great stuff. I always stumble upon your stuff and I'm like, oh, this is good. Whatever it is, I like it.
Thank you. We'll keep it up.
Okay, so you'll post about the sneakers on there too, I'm sure. Before I let you go, completely unrelated. Look, I know you're no slouch when it comes to the gym. What are you doing these days to stay in shape? Because I know it's tough. I know they keep you on a tight schedule. There's been a lot of stuff to get done in Washington, D.C. What are we doing these days?
You know, I have a 6-year-old daughter, a 4-year-old daughter, and a 2-year-old little boy. And I gotta tell you what, if I don't stay in shape, if I don't go to the congressional gym every day, when I'm at home, if I don't work out at least once a day, I lose my mind. You're talking about my level of fitness. I'm talking to somebody, you also stay in very good shape, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
We try.
We try. It's a
Yeah.
discipline thing. It's a discipline thing. And I had a leader at West Point that taught me this. He goes, if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of other people? I
Yes.
represent roughly 1 million people here in the heart of Houston, Texas. And I want to be a symbol of strength and virality for them. That's my whole goal. And so if I can't take care of myself, how can I be the best congressman for them? And I take that very seriously.
Well, I agree with that. And I often think of it, some people say, oh, I feel like selfish taking a little time for me. I always go back to the analogy of when you're on an airplane and the first thing they do, I know nobody pays any attention to it anymore, but they give you the safety briefing and they say, put your mask on before you help somebody else. You got to be able to do right by you, and then you're good for everybody else. If you don't take care of yourself, like you're no good to anyone. So I subscribe to that as well. And I think, by the way, it's not a bad idea to have an in-shape congressman who's a great example for everybody else. So all good things, I think it's all good. Well, listen, Congressman Wesley Hunt, you've been awesome to spend a little time with us. I did mention your social media. Please tell everyone where they can keep up with what you got going on.
So Wesley for Texas. That's my handle for all of them. So please.
Okay.
Wesley for Texas and subscribe. Thank you very much.
Wesley for Texas. You are great. We love having you on the team. We love having you up in Washington, D.C. And please keep doing what you're doing. Keep posting. I know you will. And let us know how the sneakers go. We're really excited to hear about that.
I most certainly will. And thank you so much for having me on. And God bless you and your beautiful family.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Of course. All
right. That's going to do it for us for this episode of The Right View. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow, and we'll see you back here next time for more. And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.